Yes, you are reading correctly. This is the title of the video. As crazy as it may sound, with everything that's going on in the world, not only here in the United States, but dealing with high inflation. We're seeing higher gas prices now. We're experiencing different type of things all across the board, right? So while everything is going on, while there are so many other, what I feel like may be more important, um, issues that need to be addressed, um, much sooner. Here it is. Our current government is planning to make the earth cooler. Okay, you all, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. I hope that you and your family are doing well. Listen, y'all, I'm going to get right into it. So, the information that I'm sharing comes from CNBC. And the title of the article, as you see on the screen, says White House is pushing ahead. The White House is pushing ahead research to cool the earth by reflecting back the sunlight. Okay, now you all know right here on the channel, we cover a lot of different topics. We've been talking about food shortages, water shortages, supply chain crisis. We've been talking about the railroad strike that, I asked questions very early on. Hey, is it really over? Were we lied to about it? There are so many different issues going on, right? And this seems to me, we've talked about here on the channel how there are an agenda of people that seem like are, where there are groups of people who seem to have the agenda and be set on, saving the planet. They say that it's a crisis going on with the climate. And so, here we are now, and this is what our current administration is doing. Okay, you all make sure, if you have not already, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel, join our community so that you can stay informed, updated, and connected whenever I do upload new content every week. So I have a lot of questions about this topic. um, I'm pretty sure many of you, if not all of you, know how important sunlight, the sun and sunlight, is to life. Okay, human life, plant life. And so the fact that, there is a group, and I'm going to go into details in just a moment. The fact that there is a group who is pushing ahead research to cool the earth by reflecting back sunlight, that's very concerning. Okay, I have a lot of questions, and we'll talk about them in this video. All right, y'all. So you can find this article on CNBC. You can do a quick internet search, but here is what the article is saying now. According to CNBC, the White House is coordinating a 5-year research plan to study ways of modifying, listen to this, y'all, to study ways of modifying the amount of sunlight that reaches the earth to temper the effects of what they call global warming, which the article says is a process sometimes called solar geoengineering. Okay, that's a new term. I've never heard of that. Maybe you want to research that as well, or sunlight reflection. Okay. Now, the article says the research plan will assess climate interventions, including, now listen to this, y'all. Let me go back to the very beginning. Listen to what they're saying is in this research plan. Okay. The research plan will assess climate interventions, including spraying aerosols into the stratosphere to reflect sunlight back into space, and should include goals for research, what's necessary to analyze the atmosphere, and what impact these kinds of climate interventions may have on Earth. Okay, now that's according to it. I want you all to research this if you're interested. This is according to the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy. Again, the group, the government, uh, the government organization who is conducting this research plan is the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy. Okay. Congress directed the research plan be produced in its spending plan for 2022, okay, which the article says President Joe Biden signed in March. Okay, did we know about that? Okay, can any of us say we honestly knew about this? I didn't know about this. And a lot of times when, things like this are done, it's not always front page news or headline news. Sometimes we have to do some research and, find out on our own and, spread the information. But these are the type of plans, tactics. These are the things that are going on. Right now, here in the United States, we're right, in my particular state and others, we're right at the point of midterm elections. And we are, when we vote for, different officials, we're trusting that they are making decisions, whether it's on the local level, state level, and federal level, we're trusting, or when we cast our vote, we're essentially trusting that these officials, when they are elected, if and when they are elected, that they are making decisions, implementing policies that are in the best interest of the people. And so to hear something such as the White House is conducting a research plan to cool the earth, when the earth has been around for how many thousands, millions of years? Okay, you all can help me with that. I don't know the exact number, but this is very concerning. Okay, especially because, like I said, we use sunlight. Sunlight is essential for human life. Am I not right? For human life, plant life. Why would, now just thinking, okay, without even having read the article, my first question was, why would they want to reflect back sunlight as much as we need the sunlight? Okay. But I'll get into it as I continue on with the article. Again, I want to say thank you all so much for your continued support of the channel. Okay. Now, listen, y'all. Okay, some concerning words that are used in this article. Listen to this, y'all. Some of the techniques. Okay. So again, let me go back. The sentence before that, I was telling you all that the research organization is the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy. Congress directed the research plan be produced in its spending plan for 2022, which President Joe Biden signed in March. Okay, now the article continues by saying that some of the techniques, such as spraying sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, are known to have harmful effects on the environment and human health. Now, I don't know everything about sulfur dioxide, but I am familiar with sulfur, and it does not sound like anything that would be healthy at all. Okay. It doesn't sound like anything that would help, as the article said, the environment, let alone human life. Okay. You all let me know about that again. Some of the techniques, such as spraying sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, are known to have harmful effects on the environment and human health. Okay, so you mean to tell me that our government is willing to jeopardize human health to do what they call or consider saving the earth, to cool the earth? Does this make any sense to you all? Okay, listen at this. So even though some of the techniques the article says, such as spraying sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, are known to have harmful effects on the environment and human health, the article says, but scientists and climate leaders, oh goodness, we have climate leaders now, but scientists and climate leaders who are concerned that humanity will overshoot its emissions targets say research is important to figure out how best to balance these risks against a possibly catastrophic rise in the Earth's temperature. Did y'all hear what I just said? Okay. The article continues by saying, getting ready to research a topic is a very preliminary step, but it's notable the White House is formally engaging with what has largely been seen as the stuff of dystopian fantasy. Okay. The article says in Kim Stanley Robinson's science fiction novel, The Ministry for the Future, a heat wave in India basically takes out 20 million people. And out of desperation, India decides to implement its own strategy of limiting the sunlight that gets to Earth. Okay, this was in a fiction novel, y'all, a science fiction novel. Okay, uh, Someone by the name of Chris Sacca, okay, the founder of climate tech investment fund Lower Carbon Capital, said it's prudent for the White House to be spearheading the research effort. Listen to this, y'all. He was quoted as saying, sunlight reflection has the potential to safeguard the livelihoods of billions of people. And it's a sign of the White House's leadership that they're advancing the research so that any future decisions can be rooted in science, not geopolitical brinkmanship. Okay, that's what Saka told CNBC. Okay, Saka, now in quotation marks, the article says Saka has donated money to support research in the area, but said he has, and I quote, zero financial interest beyond philanthropy in the idea and does not think there should be private business models in the space, he told CNBC. Okay. Now, Harvard professor David Keith, the article says, who first worked on the topic in 1989, said it's being taken much more seriously now. He points to formal statements of support for researching sunlight reflection from the Environmental Defense Fund, the Union of Concerned Scientists, and the National Resources Defense Council, and the creation of a new group he advises called the Climate Overstreet Commission, which is an international group of scientists and lawmakers that's evaluating climate interventions in preparation for a world, the article says, that warms beyond what the Paris Climate Accord recommended. I'm actually going to research that. This whole climate initiative, I'll be honest, is new to me. And so, if you would like to research as well, let's look up the Paris Climate Accord. If anyone has any knowledge of that, please post it in the comments so that we all may learn. Okay. Now, to be clear, the article says nobody is saying sunlight reflection modification is the solution to climate change. Reducing emissions, the article says, remain the priority. Okay. Three ways to reduce sunlight. The article talks about three ways to reduce sunlight. Listen, y'all, I did not know this, and I honestly wasn't around back then, but the idea of sunlight reflection first appeared prominently in a 1965 report to President Lyndon B. Johnson entitled Restoring the Quality of Our Environment. Okay. The report, the article says, floated the idea of spreading particles over the ocean at a cost of $100 per square mile. A 1% change in the reflectivity of the earth could cost $500 million per year, which does not, and I quote, which does, and I quote, not seem excessive, end quote, the report says, considering the extraordinary economic and human importance of climate. Okay, now, the article says the estimated price tag has gone up since then. The current estimate is that it would cost $10 billion per year to run a program that cools the earth by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, that's according to Edward A. Parson, who is a professor of environmental law at UCLA's law school. Okay, but the figure is seen to be remarkably cheap compared to other climate change mitigation initiatives. Okay, there have been other landmark reports. The article goes on to talk about stratospheric aerosol injection, which would involve, listen to this, y'all, flying aircraft into the stratosphere or between 10 miles and 30 miles skyward and spraying. Now, can you get a mental picture of this as I describe it, y'all? Isn't this concerning? Listen, y'all. Stratospheric aerosol injection, okay, the article says, would involve flying aircraft. Okay, so a plane would fly, it says, between 10 miles and 30 miles skyward, excuse me, and spraying a fine mist that would hang in the air, reflecting some of the sun's radiation back into space. Okay, now, just with me thinking, right? Okay, this fine mist that they're alleging is going to be sprayed in the air due to this research plan. What happened? What happens to that fine mist when it mixes with rain? Okay, I'm just thinking. Someone let me know how you feel about this in the chat, in the comments. But if it mixes with rain, with precipitation, that's going to fall down to what? Us here, right? Here on Earth, wherever we're living, whatever, state, city, wherever we are. What is that? What is that going to do to our soil, the quality of our soil? Those of us who have outdoor gardens, whether we're growing in the ground or above ground using containers, raised beds, things like that, that's going to, I would think, that's going to affect the soil quality, plant life, vegetation life outside, right? This doesn't sound good, y'all, but you can let me know your thoughts in the comments, okay? Um, all right. So the article says, so Parson also told CNBC this: the stratosphere is calm and things stay up there for a long time. Okay. He said the atmospheric life of stuff that's injected in the stratosphere is between 6 months and 2 years. So this fine mist, y'all, that they're talking about, they're saying it's going to stay up there possibly between 6 months and 2 years. Okay. Let me know. Isn't this concerning, y'all? Stratospheric aerosol injection, the article says, and I quote, would immediately take the high end off hot extremes, Carson said, and it also would, and I quote, pretty much immediately, end quote, slow extreme precipitation events. Okay, so when I think of extreme precipitation events, I'm thinking about flooding. Um, I don't know, but could that also mean rainfall, like a pattern of rainfall over so many days? But we need rain, right? Um, I'm very concerned about this. Um, Now, listen to this, y'all. Okay, one option for an aerosol, the article says, is sulfur dioxide, the cooling effects of which are well known from volcanic eruptions. They go on to talk about the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo, for instance, that spewed thousands of tons of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere, causing global temperatures to drop temporarily by about 1 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. Now, here's the thing with that. Okay, so this is, a volcano, from my understanding, is a natural landform. So the fact that this volcano is spewing sulfuric dioxide into the atmosphere, that's something that's naturally done. So I don't know if that would be as harmful. Maybe you all could share your thoughts on this. I don't know if this would be as harmful as a man-made, um, spreading sulfur dioxide. But you all can let me know your thoughts on that as well. Very, very concerning. So we talked about the stratospheric aerosol injections. They also talk about marine cloud brightening. Okay, what is this? So it says marine cloud brightening involves increasing the reflectivity of clouds that are relatively close to the surface of the ocean with techniques like spraying sea salt crystals into the air. What is really going on, y'all? Okay. Marine cloud, sorry about that, y'all. Marine cloud brightening generally gets less attention than stratospheric aerosol injection because it affects a half dozen to a few dozen miles and would potentially only last hours to days. Okay, that's what Parson told CNBC. We also have cirrus cloud thinning, the third category addressed in the 2021 report from the National Academies, involves thinning mid-level clouds between 3.7 and 8.1 miles high to allow heat to escape from the Earth's surface. The article says it is not technically part of the, and I quote, solar geoengineering umbrella category because it sounds, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. The article says it is not technically part of the solar geoengineering quote umbrella category because it does not involve reflecting sunlight, but instead involves increasing the release of thermal radiation. Okay, the article also goes on to mention that there are known risks to people and the environment. Um, the article mentions that spraying sulfur into the atmosphere will mess. I'm sorry, First, the article says spraying sulfur into the atmosphere will, and I quote, mess with the ozone chemistry in a way that might delay the recovery of the ozone layer. Okay. Um, the article also refers to the Montreal Protocol. You may want to research that, which the article says adopted in 1987 regulates and phases out the use of ozone depleting substances such as hydrochlorofluorocarbons or HCFCs, which were commonly used in refrigeration and air conditioners, but that healing process is still going on. Okay. Also, the article mentions that sulfates injected into the atmosphere eventually come down as acid rain. What? Which affects soil. Oh my goodness, y'all. Did not talk about all of this without even reading the article. Also, okay, let me Let me say this again, it's very important, y'all. Also, sulfates injected into the atmosphere eventually come down as acid rain, which affects soil, water reservoirs, and local ecosystems. Third, the article mentions the sulfur in the atmosphere forms very fine particles that cause respiratory illness. Oh my goodness, y'all. Why would we want this to happen? Okay, it sounds like it has more damaging, especially long term, short term, and long term damaging effects. Why would anyone approve this? Okay, but these are, I want you all to know, and I'm finding out, I'm learning more myself. This is the plan that people who were elected put other people in place to carry out this plan. Okay, very concerning. Um, the article also goes on to mention several different things. Um, and so I do encourage you to read this article, very concerning. Again, y'all, what does this mean? This research plan, what does this mean for plant life, human life? What are the consequences? What are the outcomes of something like this being done? Like I said earlier, we are right here in midterm elections. So, when it comes to stories like this, now just me, I don't want to, I never want to tell someone, I'll never tell someone who to vote for, um, who they should vote for. But what I would say is, for my own self, I'm going to support the candidate that would not support such a research plan as this. I'm not saying that I don't care about the environment. I do know that we all need to do our part in, protecting our environment, and because it is so important. It's an ecosystem. Everything works together in its natural order, and the fact that we want to apply so much human intervention in that process is very concerning. Um, but without going back to, as far as elected officials, I am, let me just speak for myself. I'm going to support candidates that do not support such a research plan. It seems like it's going to do far more harm than good to human life. And the fact that the government wants to, um, what it seems like, sacrifice human life in order to do what they call is basically, saving the planet is very concerning. Um, are they really in the best interest of the people? I don't know. You all can let me know your thoughts. But again, this is very, very concerning. So you can research this. The White House is pushing ahead research to cool Earth by reflecting back sunlight. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, I want to say thank you all so much for subscribing to Andrea Speaks TV, supporting the channel. Again, if you have not subscribed, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Join our community here. Make sure also that when you do subscribe, even for my current subscribers, I would like for you to go back where you see the subscribe button or where it says subscribe. Please make sure that you hit all notifications. Okay, that's very, very important. That way, whenever I upload new videos, whenever I'm live, or whenever I make posts to our new community tab, you will be informed and you can stay connected with what's going on. Okay, that's very, very important. So, again, I want to say thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Be sure to stay tuned. I'm going to be uploading more news and commentary you can use. And as always, thank you all so much for your support. All right, take care, y'all. I'll see you next time.